the death. But that's not what I heard about Nakobe. I didn't hear he was ready for camp. That's not what I heard. All right. Guys are killing it on Birds 365. John's killing it, man. Oh, by the way, before I bring Zander up here, hey, Big Z, you know when we're going to have the battle royale between me and John? September 5th. Xander's going to put up posters. It's going to be like Rocky versus Apollo Creed. Okay. Post-game show, baby. John can't escape me. Yeah. All right. With all that, man. By the way, next week, June 13th, and then we're in training camp, July 27th. All that being said, make sure you check out Bird 365. Let's talk to our friend, Big Z, Zander Krause.
What's up, Big Sills? How you doing, brother?
Yep. September 5th, Junior.
That's going to be a good one, Big Sills.
He can't get away then. All supers will be red, I promise. And also, please hit the like button.
Yeah, he's not getting away. Mark Holmes isn't going to get away. None of them are going to get away. Eagles are going to start the season, belt the ass on the Dallas Cowboys. By the way, I'm just reading into this CJ Gardner-Johnson thing. I mean, I want to say this as respectfully as I can. This dude is so emotional. I mean, dude, you won a Super Bowl. Move on. I mean, if I'm in Houston, if you're a Houston fan right now, what are you thinking about this dude who cannot just get over what happened in Philly? I mean, whatever the case might be, dude, they almost did it to Dallas Goedert. They did it to Milton Williams. They did it to Josh Sweat. It's business. And you're proving why you're on your 5th team in 5 years. You're proving. The dude is so emotional. I mean, great player, great playmaker, but good God, what a headache he is.
So I'm reading this now. Help me add some more context to this. Gardner-Johnson responded to Fangio that he was traded for salary cap reasons. He was a test dummy and it did not have no issues with.
What does that mean, a test dummy?
I'm not understanding what this is. I was a test dummy for them. So now they can be like, my scheme works, or did my skill set make it work? I had zero issues. People had issues with me. So they let the salary cap be the excuse? I'm not understanding where he's going with this.
I think he's trying to say you throw him out of the room and say it's a cap casualty, and then they sit and say the scheme is the reason the defense was good, not the player. And he's saying the player is the reason the scheme worked. And I think he's just, I mean, again, good player, but dude, Zach Bond, Jalen Carter, the edge rushers that played last year, Quinyon and Cooper DeJean.
A whole unit.
Dude, come on, man. You were on a great defense. All right? You were on a great – no, Master Eagle says he's telling the truth. That's bullshit, man. That's emotional BS. Was he a good player? Yes. Was there probably some nefarious reasons for him to get moved on from the Eagles outside of salary cap? Yeah, probably. The dude's a headache. He's a headache, Master Eagle. He's a headache. Nobody wants to deal with him.
But at the end of the day, too, so they moved off of Milton. Do you think they wanted to? Fuck no. Do you think they wanted to get rid of Josh? No way did they want to do that. Bro, they made difficult decisions, and Vic being flippant is probably what's aggravated him more, right? Because, hey, I won't lie. I even noticed that. I went like this. Vic just went, yeah, that's all right. It was a salary cap thing.
It's like that story, though, of Jimmy Johnson, and it's like, where he tells the running back in the room or something. And he's like, yeah, dude, you ain't Emmett. Like, you're not that good. All right. Like you're good, but you're not that good. All right. Your headache is too big for what you brought to the table. And it's proven by the Eagles. They had him. I mean, here's the funniest part about this deal, where he's probably right, where they did move on from him. He was under contract for a pretty good price.
Oh yeah. 11.2
at a position that you kind of right now has question marks. And they got him out of the building for Kenyon Green, one of the worst first-round draft picks in the last 5 years. So, again, don't take my word for it. The Eagles clearly had enough of the player, and they think they can move on without him. Now, you can get mad at me for that all you want. The guy's a headache. He really is. I get a headache right now just reading his post. Dude, shut up. Shut
Yeah.
up. You were not the reason the scheme worked last year. You were a great part of it. Stop trying to make it more than it is, man.
Absolutely, man. I mean, now you see, like you said, all those teams, he's got a little bit of Hassan Reddick to him here, right?
Worst, man. Hassan didn't do this stuff. Hassan put on the
but he was also on 4 teams in 5 teams in 6 years.
Well, yeah, maybe you can make a case on that too as well. But he at least wasn't as outward about it. I mean, he maybe was doing a similar thing, but it wasn't so outward. I mean, every time somebody mentions CJ Gardner-Johnson's name, he's got to make an Instagram post or make a story, and I'm like,
man,
listen. Again, you can say you're judging another guy. Everybody's got different expectations in life. All right. And when you're a $10 million athlete and a football player, you're expected to rise above some of that. Maybe you respond here and there, but good God, got a headache thinking about this dude.
Zander, I want to ask you one more time about the Jordan Davis thing. And I did talk to Clint about it. And you tell me again. I mean, do you think that guy's committed to the game?
I do. But I don't think he's one of the guys that eats, sleeps, and breathes football. I think he's gifted. I think he is maybe still growing as a young man. I mean,
mentally too.
23, 24 years old. I mean, you know what I mean? I was 24 3 years ago. I'm still 27. I still feel like I'm learning every single day. So I don't want to put a limit on the guy, but I do think he doesn't have that inherent drive for the game of football. That's not to say he might not have that in another avenue, but I don't know if immature is the word, I'm awake, because I don't really see him as an immature guy. Now, maybe you could say it's immature to not work your ass off, in this game, but
to be prepared.
Yeah, I mean, I called him lazy this morning, or I speculated.
No, lazy shit.
Lazy shit. Yeah, somebody commented mad at me about that. I'm like, get over it. But no, I don't want to say that, but I don't think he has that drive that, like Jalen Hurts. I say what you want about him, but like I feel like that dude could go over 17 or go 17-0, and that dude's going to be back in the gym the next day. He could be done playing the sport and be outcast from the league. He's going to be in the gym. Like, I feel like that's who he is. I don't know if that's Jordan Davis, but that's okay. I mean, not every great player was that, by the way, has that motivation. Some people just have talent. I think Jordan Davis does have immense talent, and if he really put his mind to it, he'd probably be a tremendous player. I don't know.
He might have more talent. He might have more upside than Jalen Carter. That's my. You are.
I don't know about that.
Wait a minute. You're 6'6", 358 pounds, and you run 4.78. Huss, you need to be better. You were taking 5 picks later than him. They were looking at you almost in the same light as that when they saw your skill set at the combines. He has been an underachiever since his time at Georgia, dude. He's just not fulfilled his abilities. And to me, I think it's got to and why I'm hard on it now is because, son, don't let it go, man. You're too good for this. You're too good.
I hear you from that
perspective. You're just too good. Zander, I think he's such a good-looking player that if he applied himself, and I think that's what Vic was hinting at.
Yeah, you might be right about that. I mean, and it's hard to look. This is everybody talks about athletes, and my dad, when I was a kid, used to always tell me athletes are people, who play games for a living. The people are important, the games are not. Now, most fans wouldn't like to hear that phrase, but the reality is that they are humans, and there's different elements to each one of these humans. And I don't know if I think Jordan Davis has a lot of passion and vigor for life. You hear him when he sings and he's jokester and he gets along with everybody. And I don't necessarily think that this is an indictment on him as a human, but no. I think you might be right about him as a football player where it just doesn't drive him. It doesn't get him motivated. Now, again, I'm speculating. I don't know. He might be working his ass off and he's fighting an uphill battle genetically to get slimmer than we think. Maybe that's the case as well. But I think the first 7-week comment maybe push back on that narrative a little bit. I don't know. It's a tough one to gauge. We'll see how he develops. I do think he's immensely talented. I think he's a really good locker room dude too. But I do wonder why he's not reaching that level a little bit quicker. maybe we'll talk about him like we talked about Brandon Graham. I don't know.
I got to tell you something here, man. I listened to Nolan Smith yesterday, and man, do I fucking love that guy.
Yeah, dude, he's awesome.
He just gives energy, and I mean, every word out of his mouth was about motivating and like leadership and all that shit. They talk about young leaders on your team. Boy, that guy looks like he fits the mold. I mean, I'm sitting there listening to him, and he's captivating. Certain guys, Zander, you walk into a room and a guy grabs the room.
Absolutely.
Certain guys hide in the room. I mean, and plus, if you can get the kind of play you did at the tail end of the season when he started getting more reps, man, he made me a bigger fan of him yesterday. I was impressed. I'm impressed with him when he talks. He feels like a leader.
The question on Nolan Smith has always been, not that. It's more been about how's the body going to hold up with the way he plays. He actually does everything on the edge impressively well for his size in terms of playing the run, setting the edge. You heard his comment about, I have to earn the right to rush the passer, and I do that by stopping the run. So he has the right mentality, the way he approaches the game clearly. So, look, if that dude's body holds up, he's going to be an unbelievable football player in this city for a long time. Now, it is a big if because he's undersized. He plays very physical. He dominates at the point of attack, but sometimes that tugs on your body a little bit more. He certainly has all the intangibles, Sills. He's got all the intangibles. This is a team filled with a lot of those players, actually, that have those intangibles. I think Nakobe Dean falls in that category as well. Undersized, keeps getting hurt, everything, but the guy just keeps fighting, keeps battling, keeps working his butt off to try and get on the field. Will his body hold up? I think it might, but I do agree with you, man. He certainly has the right mentality to be a great football player.
Do you agree with what I said in the first hour? I said the difference between your coaching staff in 23 and 2024, it's significant and for the record, having listened to Vic and hearing Vic talk like me, and he addresses the issues that you have and that I see, I feel better today on June 4th than I did on June 2nd about what you have to do to try to find and try to put the pieces on the chessboard right. And what I love here's the difference. In 23, you didn't have problem solvers. Now on your coaching staff, you have problem solvers. They're looking at like this. Okay, corner, safety, linebacker, because I don't think he feels comfortable with Jeremiah Trotter and Zach Bond starting the season against the Cowboys. I'm sorry. There's no way they feel comfortable with that. That's going to be a test, and that's going to be a battle because the kid from Georgia may end up beating Trotter out. He's going to get the first snaps, but boy, Trotter, not a lot of reps. Bond is going to be next to him. I didn't get the impression Dean was going to be ready for the start of the season.
So where Philly 500 is getting that is there's a line of thinking where, and I think it's actually a couple Eagles YouTubers, Josh Davis and Thomas Mott, were down at the NovaCare complex, and they talked to Nolan because they're friends with them. They get signed helmets and all sorts of stuff to give away. Shout out to those guys. Great. They do a great job on YouTube. But I think Nakobe told them, I'm feeling good. Now, I don't think he told them a timeline or anything like that, but they said that, and a lot of people based on, and you couple that with the reports back at the Super Bowl and cleanout day, you remember when even John McMullen was like, Nakobe Dean he was out of his boot. Like he was walking around. He did no brace on or anything, at cleanout day. That was a couple weeks after, 3-4 weeks after, he got injured. So I do think he's been ahead of the curve, but you kind of heard Vic Fangio bring some reality back to that conversation of, this isn't a complex injury. It's not going to be smooth sailing all the way through. So I'm kind of with you. I think he's going to be out for the first couple of weeks at least, but we'll see. We'll see.
How do you feel about Trotter and Zach being your starting inside linebackers?
Big question on Trotter, man. I mean, I think he has my favorite thing about Trotter is he's an instinctive player. He doesn't rely on his athleticism a whole lot. He's not the most athletic dude in the room, but he's very instinctive. And that bodes well for that position. I think that allows you. I mean, you think back to guys like TJ Edwards, you think back to guys, that have thrived at that position with not subpar, but not that supreme athleticism. I do think he has that. So I'm optimistic on him, but it's a wait and see for sure. fifth round pick, Sills. I mean, you know what I mean? You got to wait and see.
No, I get it here. And there's a reason. I think it's because he's short. He's like 5'11", 6 feet. That's the only reason. Because that guy, if you turn on his Georgia tape, that guy can ball.
Oh, yeah.
He is a really good-looking football player. I heard you say something today, and it made me think about it. Is Jalyx Hunt already a good pick? Now, he's a third rounder, so that's a premium pick. But boy, I thought this was years away from being anything. I thought it was such like a project, like maybe 27, he would be good. I'm starting to see the guy with smoke signals every game. Oh, there's a Hunt sighting. How many games did I tune on with Bryce Huff? There was no Bryce Huff sighting. I watched this kid all of a sudden every week, and more reps he got, that guy became more of a player and he became more of a factor. And don't you think his evolution had more to do with Bryce Huff getting knocked off the team than Nolan Smith? Because Vic likes that guy. Vic talks highly of that guy, Jalyx Hunt. And to me, I think the reason, because like you and John both said, and rightfully so, you think you're better right now, not having another body? I'm not saying that guy's great, but you don't have a lot of bodies out there.
Right.
And the bodies you have are guys that were everybody else's, getting rid of these guys. So, I mean, is this pick looking like this year, Zander, if this guy puts up 5 sacks this year and you see him in a rotation and playing, wouldn't that be considered a great pick?
Yeah, that'd be considered great. But yeah, he would have to continue to rise from that, I would think. I mean, third rounder is not a fourth or a fifth rounder. You know, that third round is still a little bit more. It's kind of viewed as a premium asset a little bit. Now, I think Jalyx Hunt's going to be a great pick, regardless of what happens this season. But I would agree. I mean, if he takes that next step, I think you're looking at really a slam dunk pick and a project player who really wasn't a project at all. I mean, project players aren't supposed to play in year one. He got significant snaps in the Super Bowl sales, you know? So this is obviously a guy who's worked out so far. He's well ahead of the curve. He's well ahead of where he should be or where he was expected to be. And if he continues to rise up, he's going to be a slam dunk of a pick because of where he is right now. He was supposed to be here. He's here. So if he ends up way up there, you know what I mean? You're going to look at him and be like, hey, that's a good pick. So I see that for sure. I actually see a big upside on him. I see an upside. This might be crazy to say, and I'd be curious to hear what the people in the chat have to say. His upside is comparable to Nolan Smith, in my opinion. Do you agree with that?
I think it's more because he's bigger.
More? You think it's bigger?
Because he's big. Because he's a bigger dude.
Yeah.
He's like 6'3", 6'4", right?
Yeah, he's big. He's not small. Nolan Smith is a little smaller. I agree. Yeah. Jalyx is
he's a bigger dude. I think he's got more room. I want to know what his, he needs reps like Keely Ringo needs reps. I so love the way Vic Fangio talks, Zander. I mean, he's not giving an indictment on Keely Ringo being good or bad. He goes, I don't know yet.
Right.
I want to get him reps. Don't you agree that you're going to see a lot more players on defense playing in the exhibition season? Because Vic needs to find out more about some of these younger guys on what these younger guys' capabilities are than what we saw last year. Do you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. No doubt about it. You know, the other thing, by the way, and Shady brings it up, I was about to go there. Shady took the words right out of my mouth, but that's the other big thing about Jalyx Hunt. You know, going back to him real quick, he played safety back at, what was it, Colgate or Cornell? Yep. I think it was the Ivy League, Cornell probably. Yep. That is a big feather in the cap. People might not think that matters. You need to have a little bit of that skill set to be an every down edge in Vic Fangio's defense, and he has that in spades. So that's going to, if he can get after the quarterback and set the edge, which he showed progress in last year, he's going to be a very good player for us.
Look at the identity of players you draft. Lane was a quarterback at one time in his younger day. You had what was it? Hunt played, like you said, in the secondary. Mulata was a rugby player. These guys are athletes.
Dude, they're athletes. They're versatile.
They're not.
And they're what Rico says right here. They're what Rico says right here. They not just high football IQ, they want high IQ human beings in the room. And they get that. Jalyx Hunt, Ivy League guy. This dude they brought in, Ty Robinson, the picture Rico Mart has said here. Did you hear what Jalen Carter had to say about him?
No.
Jalen Carter's like, yo, watch out for this dude. This dude's going to make an impact this year. He's the real deal. He showed up. He's working. That's what Jalen Carter had to say about him. So I can read you the quote too. I can pull it up. But I do agree with you, man. They have a type of player that they look for that's versatile, smart, has the right mentality. Going back to CJ Gardner-Johnson, that's probably part of the reason they let him go. Is that he didn't have all those boxes. He didn't check all those boxes off the field. So, but I agree. Let me read you the Carter quote. You'll like it.
By the way, when you come back, pull up Philly 500s because he made a comment on the show today, and he wants to make sure that he was understood when he was talking about Nolan.
Philly 500 destroyed today.
He was great.
So Jalen Carter said this about rookie DT Ty Robinson. He said, "You seen him yet? ? That boy is fire. I ain't even gonna lie. He's moving good. He's a big boy. He's here and he's working. I think he's gonna have a big impact this season."
I wonder what that means, though, in the rotation. You're going to put him on first and second? You're going to put him on third down, or is he a 3-down guy?
He could be a 3-down guy, bro. He could be your Milton Williams replacement. Moro Ojomo is a good pass rusher, but Moro Ojomo has ways to go in terms of being the every down guy. Now you do have Jordan Davis, so that'll offset that a little bit, but I think Ty Robinson is a much better comp for the loss of Milton Williams than Moro Ojomo is actually. And Moro Ojomo is a player I like, by the way, 7th-round pick who can get after the quarterback and rush the passer. But Milton Williams got good at most things by the end of the year. He wasn't great against the run. I think Ty will be actually better than Milton at his peak, but I'm high on Ty Robinson.
That's what his forte was at Nebraska. He was good.
You know who deserves credit for Ty Robinson? My boy Abe in the chat. Abe, are you in here? Abe has been telling me about Ty Robinson since like 3 months. It was like February 15th after the parade. And he's like,
before the draft.
Ty Robinson. Huh?
Before the draft.
Dude, way before the draft. Months before the draft by Abe. There he is. He's here. Yeah, Abe was on. Abe was my Ty Robinson truther. So, Abe, I hope it works out because I will give you kudos for that.
Do me a favor, Zander. Pull up Philly 500 because I want to make sure.
What did you drop a super? I didn't see it.
No. He didn't drop a super. He put a quote up there because he wanted everyone to be sure.
Oh, I got it.
He understood.
Philly 500. Jalyx Hunt 6.5 sacks minimum. I wasn't talking about Dean being ready. I was referring to Campbell. Yeah, well, he did say Campbell's looking like August. Yeah, they start training camp presumably end of July, like
July 27th.
Yeah, or it could be even the week prior.
Okay, really?
Be. I don't know. This isn't. It's not confirmed yet.
Oh, it's not
confirmed yet. But I said that this morning. Because I pulled up the calendar.
Oh, you're right. They may start sooner because they're playing Thursday, and teams that play in that Thursday game get a chance to show up to camp earlier.
I think a week earlier, which would be like the 20th or the 21st. Now that sounds early to me. That sounds early to me.
I don't know, man, because you're going to play on that Thursday. You may get it may be a couple days. I don't know about a week. It may be a couple days, like around the 24th, something like that. So if you're talking the 24th, we're already in June, dude. I can't believe I can't believe where we are here. All right, Emmanuel Acho had a comment. I didn't like his two takes on the Eagles repeating. If the Eagles are to repeat, what are your 2 questions that you want answered early in the season? If they're going to be in Santa Clara for the Super Bowl, Xander, I think it's Super Bowl 60, okay? If they're going to be there, what are the 2 questions that you want answered early in the season this coming year?
What's the offense need to do this year? Are you going to run the ball the same way you did and be as effective? And I think the team could do it. My question is, how are defenses going at it? So basically, it's a long-winded way of saying Jalen Hurts. What is going to be Jalen Hurts' responsibility to this football team this year? Every single year, the team has asked him to be a different player. And much to his credit, he has been that player perfectly to the point where they went to 2 Super Bowls and came between, within a couple plays of winning 2 of them. They won 1 of them. So what is the season? What our defense is doing, especially early, that are going to force this offense to look a little bit different? I do think it's going to have to evolve. I don't think you're going to just come out with the same style you did at the end of last year and just steamroll teams. The other thing I think matters is, and this ties into my first point, I have another one that I'll give you for number 2, but the defense matters with this, because if they're not giving you as good field position, if they're not holding teams to as low of points, if they're not doing their job as good as they did it last year, it's not as easy to be a running football team, right? Last year, everything was very complimentary in the way that it worked. So all those pieces have changed. What does the pie look like? What does the distribution of the pie look like? So that's number 1, is what the offense has to do differently, what Jalen Hurts has to do differently for the team. And then number 2, you could say defense as a whole, but I'll go on the edge. I'll just go defensive line. If that defensive line takes a big hit, takes a big fall off from what they were last year, is that defense going to operate as well? Is Zach Bond going to be as good? Are the guys in coverage going to be as good? Are the holes in the secondary going to be exposed if the front isn't good? So that's probably where I'd go, but you could toss it up between that and secondary.
I'm going to go here, and you tell me. I remember something at the start of 2023. I remember, and I explicitly told you this. I watched Jalen Hurts versus, what was it? It was New England. Remember he had that pre-slide? And I was like, wow, there's a business decision. Are they telling him to get down? Are they wanting to make sure he's healthy? And I saw some business decisions that were made. And they were kind of like, keep yourself healthy. We need you in not only September, but we most totally need you in December, January, and February.
Right.
If we win. I wonder how they're going to handle Barkley. Okay. Are you really just going to go, here's 30 carries, and let's start that bitch out again in September with 30 carries? Or are you going to do this? Is it going to have some more balance to it?
Yeah.
Because
I agree with you on this.
how are you looking at him? You got a tough start to the season. Really, you could make the argument that the toughest part of your season is in the first quarter pole of the year, right? How are you managing him? If Barkley said the other day, we know what the recipe is, we just got to stick to the formula. Okay. What is that going to mean? Are they going to change a little bit of the recipe, Zander? Are they going to, here's 35 carries? No, we're going to run more RPOs with Hurts maybe at the beginning of the year. I heard John and you talking about more tight end shit was being implemented, installed in the okay. How is that going to look? And the other one, to me, I think it's your secondary. How are you figuring it out? Is Cooper DeJean going to be in base, on the field, in nickel, when you guys are 70% of the time in nickel? Is he going to play corner? Who's the other corner over there? Who's corner 2? Is it Ringo? Do you feel comfortable with Adoree Jackson? Do you feel all that? I mean, I heard Adoree Jackson. I'm not impressed with that guy. I think he's okay. I'm not, no disrespect. But I mean, that's not Darius Slay out there. And as much as I said it too, hey, the guy's longing to, I don't know, maybe a 70%, 80% Slay would have been better coming back this year. I don't know. I think that right there to me are my 2 questions. Your safety, your nickel and dime, and what you're going to do at corner. And how are you going to manage? Are you going to put Barkley on a pitch count? Those are going to be my question marks that I want to see answered early.
Yeah. I agree. I think it's way different this year too because of the success you had last year when it comes to Barkley. Like, what happens if you have him healthy at the end of the year. Last year, you were coming off a collapse and you just signed Saquon Barkley. And in a way, there's a need to justify or show, how good of a player he is and why you signed him and everything like that. This year, it's like, all right, we know what we got and we know what it can do if it works late in the year. How do we make sure that, or do our best at least to make sure Saquon's available there? I don't think they're going to do a pitch count, but I do think they'll use them a little bit less. Like, I don't know how you couldn't, and I saw, by the way, I saw a comment about Jalen. I mean, my question here is like, Hurts got his money and then started sliding. Don't we want the quarterback to slide?
Yeah, doesn't Brady say that every week? You got to learn how to slide, get down.
get the frick down. I mean, feels like every quarterback ever you've always wanted to say, get down, get down, get down. I mean, you want the guy to be healthy, so I don't really view it like that. But with Saquon, I'm kind of in agreement. I gotta feel like they're not going to run him as much because they know what he can do late in the year and what that can do for your football team. But at the end of the year, if you don't, or at the end of the day, if you don't give yourself a good shot at the end of the year, what does it really matter? You know, so I think maybe they're going to do what it takes to win. If it works, here's the other question. Here's the other side of it. How do you go away from it? Like, if you have your offensive line working as good as they are, and you have Saquon Barkley, who's as good, elusive, fast, and creative as he is as a runner, how do you go away from that? Like I don't think you do. You know, you got Lane and Mailata. Dude, Lane, Mailata, Lane and Dickerson are still going to be out there. Lane and Dickerson is still going to be taking heads off people. How do you not take advantage of that? I don't know. I do think it might come back a little bit, but I think it's a good take by you.
Yeah, how about this? I mean, it's like, but you know, to the other side of that, you do this. So wait a minute. If I got American Pharaoh and I'm a jockey, hey, don't run so hard to Belmont.
Right.
You know what I mean? I mean, hey, we're going to pull back because, you know, we got a lot of shit going on here at the end.
Wait, as far as the secondary, though, with your comment on that, how about the way Vic Fangio talks about Cooper DeJean?
I love it.
Dude, it literally sounds like Cooper DeJean is my safeguard at every position.
Yes.
If my safeties suck, I'll play Cooper there. If my outside corners suck, I'll play Cooper there. If I don't have a slot to replace him, I'm playing Cooper there. He can do everything all over that secondary, and Vic is literally using him and basically told us this yesterday that he will use him and plug him in wherever he feels that
the weakness is.
Exactly. The weakness is too big to overcome. I mean, people who are asleep on the Cooper DeJean hype train, you better get up off it or get awake and get on it, because that dude is going to be a stud player for a long time. If he stays healthy, I could see Canton in his future.
June 4th, I'm making a prediction. Okay? He's your starting corner against the Cowboys.
Outside.
You bet.
I'm not going to say you're wrong. No way.
I
think there's a chance he's your starting corner, safety, and slot. You know, in base he'll be on the outside, and nickel he'll be on the inside, and maybe big nickel he's in safety.
Third down, I'm putting him out wide. First and second, I'm putting him inside.
Right, I agree.
I'd be the first guy I ever see do that, dude. Hey, you have to admit they think higher of Cooper DeJean than Q.
Well, they're different players. They're very different players. Like, they're both cornerback on the chart, but they are very different football players. Q is a corner through and through. He is an outside corner that you put on the outside. You put him in this case in zone, but I believe he could be. I believe he'd be a decent man player as well. But that's what Quignon is. Cooper is an athlete. Cooper is put him on the defense and let him track the ball. Let him be a ball hawk. Let him follow the best player. Let him play slot. Let him play corner. Let him play safety. Let him play freaking linebacker in some instances if you needed it. I mean, I think this dude could do everything out there. Cooper freaking DeJean, baby.
Hey, is Keely Ringo a big dude?
He's a big dude.
Well, then why not put him in the slot?
I wondered about this. He's not the build for a slot.
He's too big?
I could see. Actually, I think if you said
bigger than Cooper?
Yeah. Keely Ringo is big, dude.
Well, shit, man. If he's this guy
he's
runs
6'2".
Shit.
6'2", 207. Keep in mind, Isaiah Rodgers was like 5'9" in the slot last year, dude.
Yeah, but doesn't this guy run a 4.4?
Ringo's, I don't know, man. Here, let me say this to you. You say Ringo to the slot, I say no. What about Ringo to safety?
Sure. And plus, it's an easier position to play.
Makuba in the slot.
Okay.
Cooper to the outside.
Right. Playing next to Ringo. And you have Swing and Sydney. And you got Cooper outside. Yeah. That sounds right.
I don't know if Ringo could play safety, but I do think he's got that big physical body, and he has those issues with he's very handsy in coverage. So, like, what's the natural progression of that is probably put him at safety where he doesn't have to be in those positions as much.
You know what it sounds like, Zander? You know, what yacht am I going to go on today? Am I going to go on that fucking yacht? Am I going to go on that yacht?
No, that's not really true. You got a pile of used boats, and you're hoping the one you picked. You're hoping the one you picked doesn't have a bunch of issues, or the engine's not shot on it or something.
All right.
There's still some unproven assets there.
From now on, I'm going to start doing this. We're going to have the last question here, folks.
Oh, wait, by the way, Handsome Hustle, you see what he says?
No.
Vic brought up his name yesterday, Tristan McCullum.
Oh, I know he did. And
I said, I gave you a shout this morning. I'm like, I shout out Big Sileo for that because he's been saying McCullum. John's been dismissing it. And then they asked him a question about Sidney Brown or Andrew Makuba. And he goes, yeah, and throw in Tristan McCullum as well. I'm like, that's funny.
Because that's the guy he went to a year ago. I mean, that's the guy they put in. So my last question before we get to all the supers, by the way, please hit the like button here. It's always going to be a retort that I hear something when you're talking with John. So I'm going to give you a chance to respond. I heard John McMullen say that he didn't think Jalen Hurts played very well last year. And I wanted to hear your take on that. Do you believe
that for months?
I mean, okay. Well, do you think Jalen didn't play well last year in season?
I don't think it was his best season ever. But again, as we mentioned yesterday on the show, the way we won was largely circumstantial, in my opinion. And what I mean by that is when they shifted off the passing game in week 4, they did it because the offense needed a spark. They were 2-2. The sky was falling. The locker room wasn't bought in. There was a lot of issues, all right, at that time. When you do that, it's like hockey. What do you do in hockey when you're down 3-0? You pull the goalie. What do you do in baseball? You take the pitcher out. You change the lineup up. You do something, all right? They did something. Then they realized, holy shit, the league is not ready for this, and we can do this every single week. Then the circumstance denied them from ever having to go back to Jalen Hurts. To say that Jalen Hurts couldn't have led the team, I think is off base because we saw him do it in previous years. Last year, he didn't really have to. It never went back to what it was before week 4, where they came out and wanted to be a high-powered.
We'll never know.
We'll never know.
It's not but it wasn't either way.
I don't think they made the change and said, this is what we're doing, whether it works or not. We can't go back to throwing the ball because it won't work.
It evolved.
I think it was, this is so good.
Yeah.
We'd be fools to do anything different.
No, I think it picked up after the bye, and it kept doing this, Zander. Well, shit, I'm going to keep feeding it, keep feeding it, keep feeding it, keep feeding it, keep feeding it. And they kept doing it, and it evolved.
It's still spitting out money. It's still spitting out money. It's still, why are you going to stop?
Right.
You know?
Right.
The reward was there.
Right.
So, and then, by the way, when that reward did dry up a little bit in the most important game, Jalen Hurts did what he had to do. So while I understand the sentiment of saying, zoom out, yes, it wasn't Jalen Hurts' best season. Zoom out a little further, Jalen Hurts was the perfect quarterback for the 2024 Philadelphia Eagles because he knew exactly what he had to do. He did it well. He didn't turn the football over. He made plays when he needed to make plays. He had big runs in the playoffs, that big 50-yarder to the Rams. He did other things. And then when we needed him to step up, i.e. Dak Prescott, lights get bright, i.e. Justin Herbert, lights get bright, i.e. Trevor Lawrence, lights get bright, and they shrink, Jalen Hurts had his best game of the year. So I have a hard time criticizing him for it, but I do think you can objectively say it wasn't his best year because that's not what the team called on him to be.
Don't you think this is easier for the league to catch up with because it is so one-dimensional, though, that, again, if I'm a coordinator in a team and I'm Dallas, I saw what Hurts did throwing the football in the Super Bowl. So that proves your point that they did do that. But for me, don't you as a league go, well, what I'm going to do, the number one thing I'm going to say is I'm going to try to stop the run first. And don't you think the league is going to do everything in their power to catch up with that? Because it's not balanced, Zander. What it is I'm going to catch up by doing what? Run stunts, run schemes. I'm going to do whatever it takes to stop that run game. And I'm going to play the law of averages here. Yes, you may win a bunch of games still running the football, but do you really believe that you could still win 12 or 13 games if you change philosophy and stop running it as much as you do? I don't know. You know, and again, it's an unknown. I don't know they can. And people will go back to 22. Well, the reason that they've changed and every year it's different Jalen Hurts is because they're evolving.
Well, wait a second. Why'd they collapse in 23?
Because they didn't have problem solvers. Coaches didn't know how to resolve the issues that they had on the team. They didn't know. I mean,
okay, but were the issues largely offensive or defensive?
I think they were on both sides of the football.
Well, the offense finished 8th ranked. The defense finished 30th. Which do you think?
They also were high in turnovers.
Okay, but again, the point is, what if Jalen Hurts had a better defense that year? What does that season look like? Jalen was actually having when they were 10-1. Jalen Hurts was number 2 in the MVP voting.
Okay, if
the year that they collapsed, not 22.
If Jalen plays the way he did this past season, don't you think the Eagles are in a better place because instead of having 20 turnovers, you've got 6?
Well, he's got to keep the turnovers down without a doubt. But if he has the same level of efficiency with a larger amount of attempts and a bigger, usage rate, I think we're going to have an incredible offense this year. I really do. Because last year the problem wasn't the 20 attempts that Jalen did have. That wasn't the problem. He was very effective in those 20 attempts for the most part. So if his efficiency remains the same and he can add on that and build on that and maybe up the usage in the passing game, I think you're looking at a really scary player. I mean, I truly believe this in my heart, Sileo. Jalen Hurts is not yet in his prime or really close. I think you're 2 years out from prime Jalen Hurts.
I see, his last 3 years, they do look different, but yet they look the same kind of. I mean, if he's going to evolve, what do you think he evolves into?
What do you mean? Last year was his first year at the line of scrimmage.
Okay.
Give him one more full year of that, and then I think his 28th season, when he's 28 years old, he's going to go in and be the best quarterback. But that I think is Jalen's prime.
What does that look like?
Prime would be right now if Jason Kelce wasn't here.
What does that look like to you? I'm just curious. I mean, I'm not.
Same efficiency with an increased usage. It's got to be more than 20 attempts a game long term. But if you do what you did last year within the attempts that you had, low turnovers, 70 completion percentage, all those different things, you're going to have a really good – you have good enough players. Like, this is the thing, everybody wants to have the superstar. Everybody wants to have Batman and Superman at quarterback. Everybody wants that. But that's not always what wins in this team game. We don't need Jalen to be Superman. No. Why do we want him to be? We have great football players, amazing football players all over the board.
It's a unicorn team.
Exactly. All over the chessboard. All we need is Jalen to get them the ball, to be smart with the football, to be effective, to be efficient, not turn the ball over, and get the offense into the right plays as he started to learn to do last year. Jalen Hurts' best football is in front of him.
Okay. Do you believe that there will be a drop-off in the run game without Becton in there?
Potentially. Mekhi Becton was an absolute unit in the running game last year.
He was.
And if people are watching and they're not aware of that, like, you'll have fun going on YouTube tonight and typing in Eagles highlights
away like trash.
Watch the highlights on the running game last year, which, by the way, are all over YouTube and they're awesome to watch. Mekhi Becton was saucing dudes left and right. So
go to him out of the bar.
It'd be fair to say you could have a small regression, but I do think you have enough guys on that. Like, it's not like Mekhi, as great as he was the 5th best offensive lineman last year. That's the truth. So it's like, I think it could maybe hurt a little bit, but I think you're good enough where everywhere else that it's not going to be noticeable enough to make a big impact.
Don't you agree that that's probably the best guy that Lane Johnson's played with in the last 10 years?
Was Sayamalu there, or was he left guard?
Sayamalu was right guard.
Sayamalu's
having a really good career in Pittsburgh right now, so probably him. Okay, Sayamalu,
I'd say.
Okay,
Brandon Brooks was left guard, right? Yeah, Brandon Brooks was left guard.
Yep. So, but Becton was, folks. He's right.
Yeah, I think Brandon Brooks was left, right? He was left.
Yeah, he was left guard.
He was left guard. Isaac was right. Yeah, Isaac was right.
Yeah, Isaac was the right guard. All right,
Brandon Brooks was
a really good football player. Absolutely.
Badass football player. A really good football
Brooks
player.
was a great, but again, Becton was part of that 2K rushing attack.
He was. I'm not taking. I don't want to take any credit away from him from that. I mean, I think he well deserved and well earned his piece of history when it comes to that running game. Absolutely, no doubt about it.
Let's get to the supers here, folks.
All right, let's do it. Ben Dover checks in. I've accepted that Jalen not playing to his full potential is not a knock. That means he can still get better, which means the entire O gets better. Agreed.
Dude,
Agreed,
I mean,
100%.
every single time I bring that fact up, I go, dude, you played A+ football, running it, C+ passing, and you won the Super Bowl. That's not a rip. Do you understand that? That's room for improvement. I mean,
Brooks played next to Lane, by the way. We were wrong.
okay, Brooks was next to Lane. Okay, so he
I
was.
thought he was next to JP.
Me too. I don't know why I thought that, but Brooks is a great.
He was a damn good football player. He was the best one.
He was a really great one, man. All right, let's get to another one here,
All
guys. If you want supers, please throw them up there. We really appreciate them. We had
again,
I missed a bunch of them during the.
Yeah, I'll get to them. I'll get to them. We don't have a 5:30 guest, right? I'm not missing something.
No.
Ben says, Jalen doesn't need to be Superman. Efficiency. I want to see him be confident and throw missiles when he wants, not when allowed, if that makes sense.
Let me add something to this.
He had more autonomy in that offense than you think last year. Go watch that first play in the NFC title game when Saquon Barkley ran at 60 yards. Jalen Hurts checked into that play. So how many times did that happen last year? I think a lot. And that's why I said, because he's got autonomy now at the line of scrimmage, you're going to see a better version of Jalen Hurts.
I'll tell you something, Zander. You give me a Super Bowl MVP, I'm going to fucking have the confidence of King Kong. Okay? You know, you guys were talking about him throwing dimes today or yesterday, whatever it was, during OTAs. I feel better about him doing that now because you know why? The confidence level of that guy coming off a Super Bowl MVP. Fuck, dude. How would you feel about playing in the ultimate game, bringing home the ultimate prize, and then on top of that, you brought the ultimate prize to yourself home?
Yeah.
Being the MVP. I mean, wouldn't you be walking around like you had like an 18-inch, you'd be dropping that bitch on the table going, how you doing, Sue?
Slapping your nuts on the table, no doubt. Certainly would do it too if he came in this chat room on the Big Sales show for sure.
Hey man, I'd be like dropping that hammer.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, look, that's why Eagles fans have confidence, and they should have confidence. I mean, this guy's a good player, man. He's an unconventional player. I do agree with that. You know, like I think even Jalen Hurts' biggest fans, and I think I'm one of his biggest fans. I really do. I mean, I've been a fan of his since at early Alabama days when he came in. I have his number 2 Jalen Hurts jersey in Philly, which was his first year.
I've been hearing you talk about this dude since you went to Dallas and you saw him play in that opening.
Yeah, so I mean, I think I'm a big fan, but I don't think I think it's fair to say, like, even his biggest fans sometimes watch him and they get pissed at something because he just has an unconventional style of play, right? Like sometimes you're like, fucking hey, don't roll to the right, or why didn't you see that guy? Like, I think we're all football fans. Like, we all feel that a little bit, but I think at the end of the day, we all know that, Jalen does give us a very good chance to win. We've won more in the last 4 years with him at the helm than any other quarterback we've ever had in a 4-year period. So,
absolutely.
I don't think that can be lost on some people, man. I really don't. I think the kid is, again, it looks weird sometimes. It might not look how some people want it to, but he wins. He shows up to work.
52 wins in 4 years, starting in 2 Super Bowl appearances.
Hey, let me say this to you, though. All right, and I agree with you when you say, "Oh, it's not Philly." The cover of magazines and all the Met galas and all these things. But you know what is Philly about Jalen Hurts, man? That dude shows up every week. He shows up every day. There's one thing. You might have your doubts on Jalen Hurts, people in the chat. You might have your doubts, Sileo. You know what I don't doubt? That Jalen Hurts is working his balls off every single day to get better. At whatever he deems that is, I don't know. But I know he's given me his very best. All right? And in Philly, that's Philly. That is something I can respect. 100%. And then you add the success into it. You've added what he's done to the city. You add that we did have a parade on Broad Street last year in February. I was looking at pictures of it today on Zander time after Birds 365. I mean, that's real.
It is.
That's not opinion. That's not made up.
It's resume.
Yeah, that's real.
Yeah.
So I give him that. And I think he deserves a lot of credit for that.
It is. It's resume, dude. I mean, you can't shit on resume. Absolutely.
Yeah, but remember what I told you about Allen Iverson a couple of weeks ago? Who's revered more in Philly, Allen Iverson or Joel Embiid? Both were in their careers as unbelievable basketball players with unbelievable talent that never won.
Well, When I look at Allen Iverson, he wants to pull your heart out of your chest. When I look at Joel Embiid, he wants to sit down and have a cocktail with you.
You knew when he was between those lines, he gave you his very best. He gave you all his heart, all his body, all his mind, all his soul into that game.
That's right.
And you knew it, whether he won or not.
You felt
when
it.
He dropped 50 in the double overtime game in the finals. You knew it. Jalen Hurts, I get the same feeling. You know, leading up to the Super Bowl, I can think back to February. Oh, what's going on? One thing I knew, Jalen Hurts is doing the homework he needs to do. I know that. Now, will it pan out? I hope. But I know he's doing what he needs to do.
He was prepared to win. He was.
Absolutely.
I think the Chiefs in that game didn't know what the unknown was. I think they knew what was coming. I did. I think one team looked like the hunter. The other team looked like the hunted in that Super Bowl.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. That was that was their slogan too, right? Let's hunt.
You got a bunch of supers, man. Great guys. I can't thank you guys enough, man.
Prince checking in. What up, Prince? The first thing Jalen Hurts said after the Super Bowl was that he hated the fact that they have a late start to the offseason training. Yeah, it's true.
It's true.
He literally said that right away. Shorter
but
offseason.
I think they're catching up.
Prince, you know what he really meant by that, right? His girl was planning that wedding all season long, nagging him about everything, and he just keeps winning. The season gets extended. He's like, come on, man. I got a wedding. I got all this bullshit to deal with. Now I got shorter offseason, too. Come on, man. King says, Jalen is what Rondo was on the Celtics. We don't need him to be
Rajon Rondo.
That's a great comp. I think Jalen's a little more than that, but Rondo.
Wait a minute. That motherfucker was
Rondo when I was younger.
Dude, I am a huge Rajon Rondo guy.
Me too, man. When I was younger, dude, I was like 6th, 7th, 8th grade. We used to load up 2K after school, me and my buddies. You know, I'd go right on, man, be the Celtics. Are you kidding me, man? With Rajon Rondo, Pierce, Garnett. That was a net. I know Philly hates Boston, but that was a good team.
I love him, man. I'm a huge Rajon Rondo guy.
A-Team checks in. What up, Jason? A-Team. I have a sneaky suspicion that Ojulari will actually be a player if healthy. The organization glazed Cooper more than any other player I can remember. They do, bro. They promote Cooper everywhere.
Everywhere. The face is like, who do you think is a bigger face of the defense right now? Cooper DeJean or Jalen Carter?
It's Coop. It's become Coop.
Yeah.
Jalen Carter's the best player, but he's not the outward promotional player that you can do with Coop.
Yeah. All the honeys. All that shit. This guy's got the honey stuff.
Guy's a dog.
Ben,
again. What's up, Ben? Thank you for the support.
Dude, all the chicks in Philly must love this guy.
Kimberly says, Z, my super this AM on Nolan. Munden's the same. Yeah, she was talking about how, Nolan Smith is a process guy, with Georgia and all those connections.
I am so impressed with him, man.
Yeah,
I just really am. I'm so impressed with the way he
talks. Here we go. Ready to spice up the show. Here's Brian Apumper. Dudes report that it was no secret Banana Pudding and CJ did not get along. DB room was uncomfortable, so good shit how he sent both of those females packing.
Yeah, hey, Christian Parker had a problem with him. Do you remember when I posted that and everyone jumped my ass? I said, I'm being told that Gardner-Johnson had to be told numerous times in meetings to shut the fuck up. And when I said that, people were like, oh, fake. And I'm like, no. And then you heard Vic go, yeah, I don't care. Just get him out of here. It didn't feel like he went like this, Zander. I don't care. Just get him out of here. I think Gardner-Johnson got his panties in a bind.
Yeah, I agree. Here's Ben again following up. Hey, Zander, Jalen Hurts does turn into Superman of the postseason, though. Correct, Ben. Good call out, brother. Sileo will have to acknowledge that eventually.
That is ridiculous.
He did after February for a couple of weeks. And then
for a couple of weeks.
It's faded off. Kyle Kokorski says, the more I think about it, the next move is probably for a cornerback.
No, not if you put Coop out there. Dude.
I want Coop on the outside just to shut everybody up who tells me he can't be on the outside.
Put him out there on 3rd down. Put him in the middle of the field on 1st and 2nd down. I mean, I don't think that's that hard to do.
Yeah.
Dude, that guy's a $30 million a year player. You do that.
A-Team says, I agree. Sills, I don't think we ever had such a truth teller as a coach, even back in the Jim Johnson days. I wonder what the Yachtsman thinks of Fangio. Elite. I agree.
Dude, do you have a problem? Hey, do you think the Eagles, I should say, have a problem with a guy going like this? Yeah, he's not ready for August.
Nah, because you know what I think it does? You know what I think it does in a weird way?
Keeps the organization honest.
Well, that, but I think they've done a pretty good job at that, actually, despite the way that they might be outward. I think they are pretty good at introspection, but I think in a weird way, it insulates them from responsibility on the defense. Right?
Okay.
Like Vic Fangio is so forthcoming on everything. Vic Fangio tells you the truth on all the defensive players. Vic Fangio. So in a way, I'm not saying it shields them completely, but I do think it gives them a sense of everybody knows Vic Fangio is in charge of our defense. That's our guy, right? I think
Are
like
you
that.
shocked, though, Zander, on how quick he's grabbed that equity in the building?
Yeah, but they've liked him for a long time. Like they wanted him the year before, remember?
22.
You know, yeah, after 22.
Remember the Dolphins jumped the gun on them.
Yeah.
And they got him.
Yes.
And they wanted him.
And then Jonathan Gannon fucked him.
Right. No, remember, didn't he in 22? Wasn't he a consultant on that team?
Yeah.
I went to I heard you say this about 23, or somebody said something. If Vic was DC in 23, what would have happened? I ask you this. If Vic was your DC in 22, do you win the Super Bowl?
Nah. Oh, 22? Yeah. Yeah. I thought you meant 23.
22.
Yeah. 22.
Do you win it? If Gannon or if Vic's your coordinator, you win it.
I think so.
I do too.
What do you think the Yachtsman thinks of Fangio?
I think the Yachtsman looks at him like he looks at Jim Johnson and how Jim Johnson ran his defense. There's no shit about it. There's no gray area with him. He doesn't grade people on bell curves. He's an old school type guy that says, and you know why he's not a head football coach? I know why he's not a head football coach anymore. Nick, your boy, John McMullen, wrote a great article, I think it was a year ago, on the politics of Nick Sirianni.
Yes.
This guy is not politically correct.
None.
He's more
Zero.
like Trump.
Yes.
The
well,
way
I wouldn't say it like that, but I agree.
He speaks what's on his mind.
Well, no, because you could make an argument whether you like him or not. Trump is politically savvy. I don't think Vic is politically savvy. I just think he's brutally honest. He's brutally truthful. And that's a good thing. That's a good thing.
I think it's the way he talks like Trump. Trump will say any kind of bullshit. And just like the Gardner-Johnson
thing. Trump prefers to be bombastic to get to create narratives and headlines. I mean, the guy's dominated every headline and every tabloid for the last 20 years.
Here's Vic on Gardner-Johnson. Fuck it. He's the yesterday's trash. I don't really care. It was a salary cap thing. And this guy's all butthurt in Houston. Yeah, he's been off the team since February.
Ryan Pumper, we got this one. Still, did you see CJ Gardner-Johnson crying again?
Yeah.
He's an emotional wreck. Umberto, Q held Terry to. Did you get that one? Wait, you had some ones.
I missed a bunch of them though during the.
Did you get this one? What the speed has to do with playing zone? Yeah, you got the David Mack, Dan Sileo. What's Hurts' record versus QBs who makes over 50 million?
That's a great record. Probably undefeated.
Probably very good.
Okay.
Christopher Michael says Dak could come into Mark's house and start slapping family members around, and Mark would come on the show and praise him.
Oh, Christopher. Oh,
he does love Dacky, his Dak. He really does.
Love Dacky.
Leon says, sad but true, Aubrey is the Cowboys' X factor.
Aubrey, okay.
I think Eagles fans are a little bit asleep at the wheel on the Cowboys this year. If you look through their roster, it's not awful. It's not awful.
How many
wins you got? For the Cowboys?
How many wins you got for them?
10.
You think they're a 10-win team? Well, between 7 and 10 depends who. I
think between 10 and 11, somewhere in there. I can see 11. Okay. I can see 11, and then the commies come in with 10, and they get second in the NFC East, as predicted by your boy Big Z. Spider Ricos. He's more D-plane guy. What does that mean?
Again, this is a reference in case if you're 30 or under, you have no idea. He's the guy on Fantasy Island. D-plane. So Xander's. Dude, you put Zander in left field on that. He had no the fuck you're talking about.
Talking about Kyle. VJ says Mark is right. Mark needs that 500 is right. Mark needs to hold Dak accountable.
He doesn't. That's for sure.
Was Jerome Brown lazy at times?
Yes.
You got that right.
No.
All right, we got them all. Oh, here we go. I see Tanner having a great What, on the bench? What the fuck do you mean? And Pumper? If we get to see Tanner McKee for an extended period of time, the Philadelphia Eagles are fucked. We are effed. All right. Fucked. effed.
Hey, Brian, is it Tanner season? Is that what you're saying? Oh, dude, I have to agree with Big Z, man. If you see Tanner McKee, you're going to be in the top 10 picking in the draft. if you see
wins.
Tanner McKee.
8 wins. He'd wrangle 8 wins together.
With that team? Man, I don't know. I still think you're a 10-win team.
Philadelphia Eagles were the only place, the only football team in the world where the quarterback supposedly doesn't matter.
That's right, man. That's right. You don't have to play.
You
don't have to play great every
7,
week.
8 wins with Tanner McKee.
Couple wins here and there.
13 and a couple playoff wins for Jalen Hurts.
Couple playoff wins. That's all you need from the kid.
That's not Tanner. Tanner McKee's not giving you that.
No. He'll win 10 games. Zander. He'll get you 10 wins, but Hurts wins you the Super Bowl.
7, 8 wins for Tanner McKee.
So you say 7, 8 wins so that you could downplay it and upgrade Hurts when that team has got a great run. Barkley's the guy, dude.
No, dude. Nowhere in the world does a football team not need their quarterback to be a competent player everywhere outside of Philly. So
John doesn't think he was that great last year.
Mr. International says, that's your opinion, Zander. Hey, Mr. International, why don't you take a lap? No fucking shit, dumbass.
Yeah.
I'm the one on the screen talking. Come on, International. Take a lap.
Look at
You're better than that, International. You got a blue wrench and all. You're better than that.
Look at this here.
I thought it was John McMullen's opinion. No shit. The NFL doesn't want us to have a top 10 pick. No, they don't.
Oh my God, that would be frightening. Big Z, keep kicking ass there with Birds 365.
Turner is a competent QB. Nobody said he wasn't a competent QB. All right, Crowley, you start a football team. You started with Tanner McKee. I'll start it with Jalen Hurts. Let's see who goes further.
Hey, bro, I can't even say that. Big Z, great stuff, brother. I appreciate you. We'll catch you tomorrow.
All right, later, Shells. Appreciate everybody. Oh, wait. Yeah, no, we got him. See you.
You got it. All right, Big Z. Well, make sure you check Zander out, Birds 365. Let's see here. The most demoralizing thing you could do to a defense is run the ball down their throat. Absolutely true. Hurts is the perfect quarterback for smash mouth football, just like AJ, Saquon, and the O-line. Eric, it's physically imposing on what you guys do to teams. There is no doubt about it. It's physically imposing. There you go. Take them. It's all good. Congratulations, man. That's right. I have some questions on the NFC East. We're going to do that, okay? I will not allow Tanner McKee slander. They keep using these. I mean, hey, dude, I'm not, to me, I think Tanner's a good player, but that guy's not going to win you a Super Bowl, dude. He's not. I will not allow the Manning slanders. Manning slander side. Come on, dogs. Okay? Eagles offense firing on all cylinders is scary. Well, when has that happened? The 2 games that mattered the most, for sure. Can you imagine, though, if they played that way every week, there would be no beating you. And you would be closing teams out and destroying them. There's no doubt. Running the ball won't help you in a shootout. You got to get to the shootout with the Eagles. When were the Eagles in a shootout ever? You know why they weren't in a shootout? Because they were mauling teams. They were beating them up at the point of attack. I mean, yeah, no. I mean, Birds run the ball in shootouts. Also, Barkley scores on long runs as much as other teams pass for TDs. The backup quarterback theory is the easiest one to break. And you nerds still falling. Hey, he's right. The most popular player on every single NFL team is the backup QB. Okay? Because everyone's like, oh, this guy sucks. The next guy's going to come. That's not true. You're a backup for a reason. Until proven otherwise. Well, Sills, wait a minute. Brady and Hurts were backups. True. Opportunity. John said that today. That's right. Kurt Warner got a great opportunity when Trent Green went down. He just needs more reps. That could very well be. Kirk Cousins was a 4th rounder in Washington. He turned out to be a very good quarterback. A championship quarterback? No. But again, guys like Dak, do you understand who Dak and guys like Kirk Cousins are? Do you guys know